hate to disappoint, but probably what I was thinking under that mask is, I wonder when lunch is. So and the free catering.
Welcome back to Under Oath. I get the pleasure of talking to Nick Castle, the original Mike Myers, director, writer of some of my favorite movies. How you doing, Nick?
I'm excellent. Thank you, Jeff. Nice to talk to you.
All right. If you hear any beeping over us, there's a fire drill coming in, and we got permission to stay in the building. So it kind of works.
Okay. Good deal. You guys in Florida have my sympathies.
Yeah, weird things happen here. We get hurricanes. We get lizards falling from the trees. Shark bites. I think other than Australia, I think we are America's Australia.
Oh dear, I have a lot of good friends there. So keep safe.
All right. Well, let me get into this. I got to tell you, I've loved your career. I love your movies. I love everything you do. And from what I hear, they're re-releasing the original Halloween.
They are doing that. I hear that there's going to be a release on 700 screens all around the country. And it's great to see it on the big screen because it was planned to do that. John Carpenter, the director and writer, did it in widescreen, and he has a tremendous score. I think everyone knows that iconic music in the movie, and it's meant to be seen on that big screen. So you'll get some extra thrills going to see it live and in person.
I mean, what I really love about your career is, it's weird how people might know you. They go, oh, you're the original Mike Myers, but they don't realize how many great films you've done. I mean, your August Rush, The Last Starfighter. I mean, Snake Plissken. Come on. I mean, this has been unbelievable. And where do all the characters come from?
Well, my tiny little brain, I guess. It is a varied career. It's, careers are either created by the artist or are displayed and given to you from the outside in. For someone like John Carpenter, he really did kind of create his own his own art world and his own sense of who he is. For me, it was like, people sent me ideas for movies, and I went ahead and implemented them. So I'm more of a product of the motion picture industry, and he was more of made his own product. So it's two various kinds of careers. But I am a love of all kinds of genres. So maybe that's what is reflected in my work.
You know what I love about it? Because I write comic books. I've written graphic novels for a year. And when I came up with my own horror graphic novel, I really was thinking to myself, how do I create my own Michael Myers? And it's so tough because people don't realize horror is so much more difficult than anything else you'll have to do because, it kind of gets into you. I mean, when you played Michael Myers, I can't even imagine what you're thinking inside that mask going, okay, let me lock this person down.
Well, no, actually, I hate to disappoint, but probably what I was thinking under that mask is, I wonder when lunch is. So and the free catering. So it's funny when you're a filmmaker and you go through the grind of the day. It becomes more, I don't know, mathematical than it does artistic for someone underneath a mask like that, where you're not worried about remembering lines or much of what a true gifted actor has to go through. I think people attribute a lot to me on this picture. I look at it as what it was a lot of fun to work with one of my best friends from film school, and also learn about the craft of filmmaking from the experience. So great fun, and it just happened to turn into this amazing, iconic character that lives in everyone's fears and dreams, and a lot of people that just have so much fun with it.
What I love best, one of the best things I love about Halloween was the budget for it was like nothing. And when you see a movie now, which they say, oh, you have a $200 million budget. Does that just amaze you?
I know for John at the time, I think $300,000 was a fortune. because his earlier films were done on even a smaller shoestring, and here he had whatever it was 20, 24 days or something like that to shoot. That was luxury. So it's all relative. You come from film school where you do films with your buddies, and this wasn't much different. We were doing films with our buddies and new friends and cohorts. The camera was just bigger. So we didn't see ourselves as trailblazers or just trying to get in this crazy industry one way or the other. And John really hit it out of the park.
Now, one thing being a comic book writer, I do a lot of conventions, and I assume you've had to do your share. And, where you're signing pictures of yourself and people are coming up dressed as your character. I mean, what is that like for you?
Oh, it's another career. Over the last decade or so, an agent called to me and said, "Do you want to go meet your fans?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" And now for the last, decade, I've been going to conventions. This last period of time, over the last couple months, you can imagine that as it gets closer to Halloween, I get a lot of offers. So I think I've been away from home like 6 of the last 8 weeks, going to conventions in Lexington and Raleigh and Seattle. Just came back from Seattle, and meet all the fans who just love this project to death. It's hilarious. Some of them think of that music that everyone is terrified with as their comfort zone. So you meet all types and have a lot of fun with the folks, and of course you make a little bit of change too. And in my retirement now, it's quite helpful.
Now, I know they have screenings. People do these things where they ask you to come to screenings and their VIP meet and greets. I mean, what is it like for you to watch this movie, 30, 40 years later and go, oh my God, does it take you back, or do you go, wow, I remember when I was that young?
Yeah, not only that, but takes me back. Some of the photos that we sign at my table at these conventions are me back in the day, and I look at some of the shots of me without the mask on. I see all that hair I used to have. That's what I'm reminded of. I'm old. Yeah, that's what I'm reminded of.
Time keeps moving, There's nothing we can do about it. But you actually wrote one of my favorite movies called August Rush. And it was such a powerful movie because it just touches so much. I mean, you had a musical background. You were in a band. I mean, did you pull from that?
Oh yeah, well, I loved, I love music. I love rock and roll. I love, music of all genres. My dad was a choreographer in Hollywood, and I met many of the great dancers and musical stars and things like that. So I have that in my blood. And then I did a movie called Tapped with Gregory Hines and Sammy Davis Jr., which kind of had the same kind of theme about how you can find music in the world. You find music in the breeze in any place. And I thought this was a wonderful idea, and kind of went with it. And I think helped create this lovely story about a boy that wants to find his family and uses music to discover where they are. So I always love that premise, and I think the execution was very well done.
Now, I have to mention Escape from New York. Iconic, amazing, concept. I think it really brought Kurt Russell back. I mean, I assume that you're just writing, you go, okay, this is where this comes from. I mean, did it come from anything, or did you just start and, suddenly you were done?
Well, this one, I have to admit, came out of John Carpenter's little brain. He right out of film school, he wrote that an initial draft of Escape, which had the skeleton of the storyline and the conceit of it. And by the time he actually got it to production or to pre-production, he said he needed some help on it and brought me on board. So I can't take credit for the idea, but, I added a lot of humor, the taxi character, Ernest Borgnine, a lot of the plotting of going through all the New York iconic places where a lot of my ideas, it kind of helped shape the final product. But it was John's inspiration and always was a fantastic idea.
When they do a sequel of the movie and you get to watch it, and do you ever go, well, that lost the heart of it? I mean, how did you feel when they did the sequel to it?
Well, it was a fun idea. I think taking it to L.A. and using all the iconic L.A. Marks and stuff like that. So, because of my involvement with the first one, I have an attachment to that one. But this one was more like I had my name on it because I did some of the original characters. But John always does a good job on these pictures, and it's just a matter of which one clicks to the audience.
When I was in the Army, I got out of basic training and I got sent to San Antonio, Texas. And I immediately went to the movie theaters and I saw 7 movies. But the movie that got me the best was The Last Starfighter. And, it was fun. It was amazing. And I can never figure out, with the popularity, why they never did a sequel to it.
Well, it's a couple of reasons. One is that it didn't make the kind of money that usually instigates a studio to say, I want to put lots of money into a sequel. That's one. Number two, it really didn't get its kind of cult status until video came out, and a lot of people saw it in that format and started to enjoy it and get in. Now there's whole fan clubs of this movie. At one point in the early 2000s, me and the original writer were stepping out, almost ready to do the sequel at a studio, and it fell apart because of rights issues. And that was one of the problems over the years. Now the writer has the rights back, and coincidentally, as we speak, we're talking about the storyline for the new one. So keep your fingers crossed, Starfighter fans. We'll see about it coming in the near future.
Well, just to let you know, while I appreciate Michael Myers, it was your other works that inspired me to write my own comic books and my own graphic novels. So it was so great talking to you and look forward to talking to you again.